Why was Oscar Pistorius' culpable homicide conviction replaced with murder? And how does this verdict impact the culpable homicide sentence he is currently serving? Why does Oscar Pistorius' bail carry stricter conditions this time around? And is it likely that perhaps the Constitutional Court can rule in favor of the Paralympian? What time is it? It is question time. Welcome to Question Time. My name is Mpho Tsedu. Paralympian Oscar Pistorius has been granted bail of 10,000 rand by the Pretoria High Court. His lawyer, Advocate Barry Roux, and State Advocate Gerrie Nel have confirmed that Pistorius will apply for leave to appeal his murder conviction. The Supreme Court of Appeal overturned the athlete's culpable homicide to murder last week. A reminder, we are live, and therefore you can call us. Of use. The number to dial is 089-110-4210. At Question Time 24 is the Twitter handle to use. My guest today, Advocate Romeo Rendani Tambeleni. He knows the law. The advocate, welcome to Question Time.
Good evening to you and the viewers, Mr. Tir.
Well, it's been an interesting time in the law. I mean, Criminal Law 101 has been running on Twitter. Everybody knows now about dolus eventualis and all that. Let's talk. The man has now been granted 10,000 rand bail, which is supposed to be paid on the 11th or so. What has happened to his other conviction?
The Supreme Court of Appeal judgment set aside his previous conviction.
Okay.
And then it was set aside in its entirety. And also, setting aside his conviction affected automatically his sentence. Because you'll remember when they were granted leave to appeal to the SCA, the sentence was not part of the appeal.
Yes.
But when the Supreme Court of Appeal ruled, they said, the now conviction of murder will automatically affect his sentence. That is the position.
Okay. So, we're discussing earlier, and Dibu saying things that there's some privilege for Oscar Pistorius, and that's why he's not going back to jail. Why? He's convicted of murder, she argues. He's convicted of murder. He's supposed to be locked up immediately. I think this thing has just got to do with the fact that he's Oscar Pistorius, famous and all that. If it was somebody else, they were going to lock them up. Is Dibuseng right?
I don't think so. We can all be judges in a court of public opinion. Like any other accused person, Oscar Pistorius has his rights, and which is entirely within his right to actually exercise them. There was an argument earlier today in the court when the submissions were made relating to his bail conditions.
Yes.
The state was asking that the conditions must be made to be more strict. And then the court said, no, we hold a very different opinion. You must advance reasons why. His legal representative actually argued that he has been behaving well ever since he was put, since the first bail application. So he's not a flight risk. There's no need for stringent bail conditions to be put now. We are still dealing with the very same Oscar Pistorius that we are dealing with on the 14th of February 2013. Okay. He hasn't made any attempt to escape
yes.
or anything like that.
Okay. Taku, you are in Limpopo. Welcome.
How are you, Mpho?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
Yes, man. I feel so pity for Oscar Pistorius.
Why?
Because the culpable homicide case has been replaced with murder. I don't know why. I think this case it has some controversial in it. Oscar Pistorius should be regarded as a normal human being who has actually committed crime. So why should the culpable homicide case be replaced by murder? I think it's controversial for me. It's unfair on the side of Oscar Pistorius.
Thanks very much, Taku. Well, and I think a lot of people were questioning this. Is it common for one to have charges upgraded, if I may use the word?
No. People should understand something. These charges are not being upgraded. The state appealed, saying that there was a wrong finding by the court accord. And when the Supreme Court of Appeal said and listened to the appeal, they indeed found that there were some errors of law, at the court of first instance relating to the interpretation of dolus eventualis that you have just referred to. Yeah. And then that is when his conviction and sentence were set aside and replaced with the right, conviction and murder. It happens to everybody else. So I don't think that there is anything untoward against the state actually appealing, these convictions. Surely our law should be tried. People outside who want to hear about justice, they want to know the correct position of the law as to what is the real position of the law. It doesn't matter whether it applies to X or Y. The law is the law, and the law is tried. And the principles of the law were correctly interpreted in the Supreme Court of Appeal judgment. And like any other accused person in a criminal case, he felt that perhaps a different court will reach to a different conclusion altogether.
Okay. The numbers to dial, 089-110-4210. Those are the numbers to dial, and the Twitter handle @questiontime24. Let's get to hear your views on this matter. What do you think? Is it fair that Oscar is home and he's only likely to go to court next year for sentencing and all that? Now, when they sentence him, are they going to bear in mind that the boy has already spent a year in prison?
Indeed. In argument, I think it should be advanced by his legal representative. Although, technically speaking, it might be a challenge because he was serving a wrong sentence that was actually convicted of. So it might be, technically speaking, be problematic in approach. But it might be argued in his favor. And the fact that he's disabled as well, because maximum sentence, you're looking at 25, minimum sentence is 15 years. Those are prescribed in terms of legislation. So, all those challenges that he has faced, I think, will be advanced by his legal representative in relating to sentencing.
Okay. Tembi, you are calling us from around Gauteng. Welcome.
Afternoon, Mpho.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Mpho.
Yes.
I'm so confused when it comes to Oscar. Oscar must just humble himself and accept that he has killed River Steenkamp.
Yes.
Who take the phone and run to the bathroom and lock herself? You can't take the phone to the bathroom 3 o'clock in the morning and then lock yourself in the bathroom. And for him, because he's got money, he can hire expensive lawyers, you understand, run away from the justice. He must just humble himself and accept that justice has prevailed from Bloemfontein and go and serve his sentence and then come back, apologize to the nation. Simple.
So, Tembi, you don't believe his story?
He's not different from ordinary guy who can't afford to pay Barry Roux. You understand? He's the same. He's got right because he's got money. He can go to constitutional court. Where's River Steenkamp's right?
Well, he says
River Steenkamp doesn't have a right. Oscar has got the right to kill River Steenkamp, go and sell the house, take all his money, and then pay expensive lawyer, go to Correctional Services, play tennis with Rhonda Van Kresher, and have all these drug dealers supporting him. He's innocent.
So, Tembi, you don't buy Oscar's story?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Tembi. Well, does the public opinion court really have a bearing on matters of this nature?
Thank God for the criminal justice system in South Africa, that we don't have the jury system, wherein the impact of the public opinion will be voiced. That's why I said, everyone is guilty before the court of public opinion. But when you have got competent courts and the judges who actually examine the evidence and assess the matter, I believe you reach to a correct conclusion. And I don't think the jury system, I'm not one of the person who will support the jury system,
okay.
no.
Okay. Yeah. Jack, you are around Gauteng. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
Thank you. First of all, you look good in red, eh?
Oh, okay.
I've got one question to the advocate, and then I've got one comment.
Okay.
Let me start with a comment. Based on this state of affairs, it looks like the money issue, so-called, just going to buy him a little bit time. That's it. Okay. This is the comment, and I would like the reaction of the advocate. And the question is, also to the advocate,
yes.
Is the 15 years, is a minimum prison time? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You're going to answer those questions only after the break.
All right.
We need to take a quick break. When we return, we'll be taking your calls. The number to dial 089-110-4210. What do you think about Oscar Pistorius' case? Is it a question of where there's more money, there's more days of freedom? This is question time. Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today is Advocate Romeo Rendani Tambeleni. And we've got Sizwe calling us from the Eastern Cape. Welcome. Sizwe?
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
Yes, man. Sorry, man. I have a problem with this thing of Oscar Pistorius. We have members of the SAPS who murdered someone there, and they are speaking, and they were not granted bail. And now this guy here, his conviction was convicted to murder. Now he must stand trial from the outside. Please, can the advocate elaborate from that?
Okay. And by the way, there's no trial anymore, right?
No.
Okay. But yeah, just clarify.
Okay, let me start by the first caller's questions.
Yeah.
Relating to the first one was the question relating to him buying himself time, I think,
yes,
if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Sitting from the outside, you always have a better view of things that are happening in the inside.
Mm-hmm.
It might be as well seen as trying to buy time for himself, but like I said, every accused person have a right to ventilate his matters in court, and which is one of our court is the Constitutional Court, which has been granted powers by the amendment to actually look at criminal matters. Previously, just to actually emphasize, the Supreme Court of Appeal was the final appeal division in criminal matters. Mm-hmm. So it has got a very good history in relation to dealing with criminal matters. Okay. And it's very highly unlikely that the Constitutional Court at some point interferes with the judgment from the Supreme Court of Appeal. That's why a new retrial will not be ordered. Mm. And you only approach the Constitutional Court when there are constitutional grounds. I don't know which ones Oscar is going to raise, unfortunately. Okay. You have to have good constitutional grounds.
Okay.
For you to approach the Constitutional Court, you have to cross your T's and dot your I's very carefully, because it's the court that is clothed with judicial authority to deal with constitutional matters. And they normally don't want to interfere with the decisions of the Supreme Court of Appeal because of the reasons that I've just given you. Okay. Remember, Oscar's appeal, 5 judges sat, and all of them were in agreement in terms of changing the conviction. Okay. There was no dissent from the other judges to say, we think that this is wrong.
Okay. Siyabonga, you're also in the Eastern Cape. Welcome.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Siyabonga.
Yes, no, I have a question to the advocate, and this question is directed to him as Romeo, not as a person on TV.
Okay.
To check on the prospects of success on this case that Oscar has appealed to the Constitutional Court. Are there any prospects of success? I want him to respond to this one as Romeo, not as somebody who's interviewed on TV.
Now, as Siyabonga, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, hence I'm asking the advocate.
Okay. All right, Siyabonga, thank you very much. Well, Romeo, give us your view there.
In my capacity as a lawyer, yes. Look, it's a 50-50 chance, and
what is the other 50?
I'm saying I've given classical examples that the Supreme Court of Appeal's judgment are normally watertight judgments, and any other court like the Constitutional Court rarely interferes with the decisions of the Supreme Court of Appeal. Then I think that is the long and short of it. That's how I'm going to actually take it further. Because prospects of success on an appeal are based on the reasons that a person will actually advance.
Okay.
What are the reasons for leave to appeal that is actually going to actually advance? The court must look at this and check whether there's credence in the arguments that he's actually bringing before court before deciding whether those prospects of appeal will actually be successful or not successful.
If Oscar was to come and approach you, would you take his matter?
That's a good question. Yes,
I need a good answer.
Yeah, I will take his matter.
You think you would win it? Okay, let's take Bulelani. You are calling us from the Eastern Cape.
Chief.
Bulelani?
Yeah, Chief.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to know now that Ilendo, this trade matter now has suspended in that culpable homicide. I heard that now he will be watched by the Ilendo investigating officer. Now, with the the tracker that will be fitted on, who will monitor him? Is it Correctional Services or the investigating officer?
Yes.
Because I also heard that now will be fitted with Lendo system.
Oh,
so who will monitor him in that regard? And again, my question is, has he been removed now from Correctional Services?
Okay. What happens in this case? Is he an SAPS client or Correctional Services client at the moment?
A Correctional Services client.
Okay.
Because that's why when the legal representative of the state was arguing today, he was talking about a restriction of movement, 20-kilometer radius. The Correctional Services checking him with a device. So he's in the capable hands of the Correctional Services. And to answer your question relating to whether I will win the case, I will present the best argument ever, and then the court will decide.
What do you think would be your strong points in such a matter?
My strong points obviously will have to sit on whether he had a fair trial from the beginning, whether the Supreme Court of Appeal had a correct reasoning and interpretation of the principle of dolus eventualis, and then those will be the points of departure in my argument.
Okay. Sam, you are calling us from KwaZulu-Natal.
Hi, Imported. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you very much for the call.
Thank you. I wanted to ask the advocate a different question.
Okay.
Does this case throw a different light on the capabilities of black judges?
Well, he said, It would appear you've asked quite a difficult question.
Sam, it's a difficult question that you've asked. When the Supreme Court of Appeal ruled in the judgment, they said, let this judgment not be taken to say that there was anything spectacularly wrong with the judgment of the court by Judge Masipa. There was a lot of media attention, there was a lot of public interest in this case. And they indicated that you know what, decisions are overturned by court on a daily basis, by the way. Yes. And this should not be seen as something that is bad against it. Judge Masipa's record speaks for itself. She's got a very good record. She's experienced in the judiciary. Yes. Like any other judge sitting in the matter, you know, your decisions, you know, can be appealed.
Basically, the law is up for interpretation.
Indeed, the challenge, our law is critical but stable at this stage, and I think that you know, it will be a good thing that this matter goes to the Constitutional Court, so that the Constitutional Court will put everyone else to rest, like a layman on the street who wants to actually understand the proper interpretation of the law, of saying what are the implications if something else has actually happened and I reacted in the following manner, because. Remember, there are a lot of things that are at play here. There are issues that Oscar is disabled and, you know, he had problems and he felt scared and everything. You can interpret it in any other way that you like. But if a challenge comes, and then the courts also will be very much careful not to open the floodgates of saying, you know, who is a reasonable person.
Let's look at our tweets here. Bafana Manana says, nope. The ordinary or poor South African citizen who committed the very same crime is now serving his sentence because they don't have money, I guess. Morena says, Mpo, this case is a groundbreaking one in South Africa. Oscar can try his luck in the Constitutional Court, but he is guilty as charged. That's Morena. Bongani Ngetu says, with regards to the first judgment, will there be some kind of investigation to establish how things went so wrong, or what? Well, that's Bongani, and those are our viewers at question time 24. What do you think?
Investigation on what? On what went wrong in the first case? When the judges are sitting in courts, they are immune from being investigated by anybody else for the decisions that they have made. If ever any decision of the judge would be investigated, we wouldn't have judges. If you want to call me into the bench now and you say every legal decision that I make will be investigated, I will never want to be a judge. As the Supreme Court of Appeal has actually indicated, it's not that there were issues that were untoward. There was a lot of media and public attention relating to this matter. The judge might have gotten things incorrect, but that is why we have the benefit of the Supreme Court of Appeal to actually appeal the decision if you feel like your appeal is wrong.
Okay. What would be your message to the viewers out there, ordinary people who think that there's some deal that's being cut or the law is being applied here in favor of Oscar?
I will say that I think let us try to be calm and allow the legal processes to unfold, and let's have faith in our justice system, because thus far it has not failed us. And after this case, we are going to have a clear indication of where we need to go in similar situations.
But it takes time, eh?
Indeed, it does take time. And when it comes to the Constitutional Court as well, the Constitutional Court might actually reject his argument and say we are not actually going to entertain this, and then it has to go to sentencing as well, because they will call in terms of the rules, Rule 19 and Rule 20 of the Constitutional Court rules.
Advocate, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You will be available next time when we need your brains there. And we asked a question today. Do you think that South Africa's justice system serves the rich and the poor equally? This is hashtag Oscar Pistorius. And 29% of you said yes, of course. 71% said no, it doesn't. So you don't think that South Africa's justice system serves the rich and the poor equally. You don't think it does. 71% of you say so. But that was question time for today. A big thank you to my guest and to you for watching the show. From me and the crew, you have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.